Right. Kirk Fletcher here, just doing a little guitar playing, having some fun playing through this Benson amp and playing this 57 Stratocaster here, just, letting the time go by and playing and just thinking of different ideas and things like that, like I often do. Just play guitar. And something I want to kind of talk about today, just a little bit. Happy Saturday, everybody. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, sometimes we get caught up in this digital world. We get caught up in seeing everything, wanting to understand everything, or watch it and be taught how to do something. And sometimes I feel like the aspect of listening and figuring that out and maybe not knowing the exact fingerings or how somebody's doing it, but that process of listening to something may benefit you in different ways. You might be playing it totally different than the person who originally came up with the idea, concept, lick, groove, rhythm part, drum beat, keyboard part, song, whatever. It might be different than how they approached it, but you might within that find your own way to go and find out something, for your own path in the way, like I know there was I can't remember what it was. It might have been like just kind of stumbling through this Kid Charlemagne solo, Larry Carlton, Steely Dan, the Kid Charlemagne. And this lick I use all the time now, just playing. Just a little 2/5. And I just incorporated that into my own thing. So, just listening to it, just hearing things, with your ears and not necessarily seeing everything like a lot of the great influential players did. They weren't able to be shown everything, and things like that. Not that I'm saying that's bad. It's fantastic to be able to do that. But it's also fantastic to use your ears and pick out notes and develop the ear more and more and more. And even if you stumble and you don't play it exactly right, still that process of developing your ears and building it up is so important, and it's so crucial to guitar and learning guitar in more of a musical way, I feel. When I hear records by certain people, like when I was a young guy and I was trying to figure out Stevie Ray Vaughan songs and things like that, like when I was young, You know, like take for instance, like Lenny. When I was 9 years old, I didn't play. I thought it was like, I didn't know. But that first part, that's a 13th chord. So I later used that. And it's just something that simple started that way of doing something maybe wrong, but to my 9-year old, 10-year old learning guitar Stevie Ray Vaughan songs, that sounded the closest I could get to it. But I learned something else in the meantime. I learned a different chord. I learned the 13th chord. It had this note in there, so it was probably some other chord, but I learned these top three notes. You just different little stuff like that. Stumbling, I found more of things, my own voice and things like that, from trial and error and by using my ears. And then, growing up like I grew up in church and things like that, you constantly had to use your ears because there was nothing set in stone. Somebody might just start singing in any key, doing whatever, and you just got to hang on the best you can. And then if you do that for, decades, then you start to just develop your ear more and more. And that's, the ear is one of the most important things, to like playing. I mean, there's musicians that, maybe come to a session, some of the great session players who came to a session and maybe they only had, what key the song was and they just blew a solo, but they could hear it and they can tell what the chords were, in their mind and hear it because it was common to them and they heard these chords before and they could just improvise a solo. So you don't have to think of it as being as prolific as, one of those guys right off the bat, but just starting to develop that, is a thing that's very important, I think. So keep those ears and heart open to music. Have fun. Happy Saturday. I'll be doing my live stream tomorrow. Take care. I'll see you soon.